All right, Hurricanes fans. So this season comes down to this. Hurricanes played against Pittsburgh. I got to tell y'all, this game reminds me a whole lot of a video game when you got to go against the big boss. And I know a lot of y'all saying Pittsburgh is not the big boss. Let me explain what I mean by that. So, typically in a video game, each stage they introduce a new challenge or a new obstacle. So, stage one, they introduce this challenge. If you overcome that challenge, you get to move on to the next one. Stage two, they'll have the challenge from the first stage, plus they'll introduce a second challenge for the second stage. You move on to the next one. By the end of the game, when you're playing against the big boss, you have to implement all of these challenges. You got to overcome all these challenges, all wrapped up into one character. And you have to use all the challenges that you've learned throughout the whole game to beat this one person at the end. And this one person you're fighting here, the big boss, is going to use every single challenge that they've introduced throughout the entire game. That is basically what's happening here against Pittsburgh. What do I mean by that? Everything that we have been concerned about for these Hurricanes over the last few years is just like staring us dead in the eyes in this game here. And they're actually not all presented by Pittsburgh, but it's just somehow it all magically is in this big cyclone of craziness that's going to be at this Pittsburgh game. All right. First thing, I've always been concerned about the Hurricanes playing in cold weather. This is not just something that's happened last year or this year, or this has been decades before now. They've always had problems playing in cold weather. And it's going to be like 31 degrees at kickoff. So that's one crazy thing that's happened in this game. Another thing, a team that's hot, playing against a team that's coming in hot. They are 6-1 playing against this new Mason Heichel, or however you pronounce his last name. With this freshman quarterback, they're 6-1, so they're coming in hot. They also just beat Georgia Tech, who most would consider, if not Miami, they would say Georgia Tech was probably the best team in the ACC. They just beat them. Another thing, the Hurricanes have struggled for years and years and years with playing these do or die games. We saw what happened last year against Syracuse. It seems each time we get into these big situations where it's like, hey man, if you win this game, you get this. You get the big prize if you win this game. We choked last year against Syracuse. We actually choked this year against SMU. I wouldn't say we choked against Louisville, but it almost felt that way. And this is an ultimate do or die game. We have a situation where if we win this game, there's a strong possibility that we can get into the ACC Championship. And if we win this game handily, we might actually go ahead and jump in to the college football playoffs as an at-large bid. So that's another part that's being thrown in this situation. I've always been concerned about a quarterback who uses his legs consistently throughout the game. This dude is not a burner. He's not, Mason Heichel is not somebody who's going to go out there and run all over the place like Florida State's quarterback or not even like North Carolina State's quarterback. He doesn't really use his legs too often, but he does it whenever he needs to do it. So not going to do too many read options or anything crazy like that. But on a 3rd and 6, if nothing's going on down the field and the path opens up the middle, he will go and get those 6 yards. So that concerns me. This season, not seasons of the past, but this season, I have been extremely concerned about defenses that pressure the quarterback, mainly because Carson Beck, when he has a clean pocket, he's this good. And when he has people rushing him and they're all at his feet, he can be this bad, right? So that's been a huge concern of mine. And that's something that Pittsburgh prides itself on, is getting pressure on the quarterback. They blitz like crazy from all over the field, kind of like what our DC has been doing these last few games. It's like they don't know where the blitz is coming from. It's coming from somewhere. You just don't know where it's coming from. That's what Pitt's been doing. So that concerns me quite a bit. That is going to present itself in this game one way or another. Since the beginning of this season, I think it was the second game of this season, I posed a question. And unfortunately, the question that I posed, it was a negative response to it. And what I mean by that is I asked, what happens when the teams that we're playing against, when they say, we're going to shut off your run game, not going to allow you to run it, you're going to have to beat us with your arm. I asked this question game 2 of the season. I watched this play against Notre Dame and I was like, uh-oh. When the running game is looking right, we look right. But when they shut the running game off, we look kind of stagnant. Like, what are we going to do whenever a team just says, I'm going to put 8 people in the box, 7 in the box, and you're just going to have to beat us. You're just going to have to figure out where the weak point is in the defensive backfield, and you're going to have to just find a way to get an open receiver and hit that open receiver when he's open. You're going to have to figure out how to keep from turning the ball over left and right. I asked that question at the beginning of the season. What are we going to look like when teams do that to us? And unfortunately, we have not looked very good when that's happened. We just haven't. SMU did that to us, and they beat us. Louisville definitely did that to us, and they beat us. Notre Dame they just about did that to us, and they almost beat us. So that's a concern, and that's exactly what Pitt's going to do. They are excellent at stopping the run, mainly because they don't mind bringing an extra linebacker on the field to stop the run. They don't mind sending one of their defensive backs into the backfield to stop the run. They don't mind doing that kind of thing. So they will sell out to stop the run. They're going to do that. So that's another wrench that's thrown into this situation. The next thing, what does our quarterback look like? And is he able to keep from turning the ball over when there's constant pressure on him? I've had this question all season, and unfortunately, he has not answered the bell on that a lot of times. Recently, we have played. I mean, I don't want to talk negatively about Beck, but recently he's looked pretty good. But that has been against some horrible defenses, y'all. Let's just be honest. This is going to be the first good defense that we've faced since the SMU game. So we got to see what he looks like and if he can keep his turnovers down when playing against a lot of pressure, because they are going to pressure the quarterback. So we've got to see what he looks like whenever that happens. And then the last thing that I could think of in this cyclone of craziness that's happening in this Pittsburgh game is we've had concern about Carson Beck throwing the ball in weather. And it's typically been wet footballs that he's struggled throwing the ball in for whatever reason. But this is going to be a different situation. He's going to have to grip the ball when it's freezing cold outside. It's below 32, y'all. I live in Kansas. It gets cold here. And I can't stand being outside playing in cold weather. So I can't imagine if I was from Florida and I'm used to 70 degrees year round and then I have to come and play in 30-degree weather. Have mercy. So all of those things are going to be at play in this one football game. And then I think I also want to add that since the college football playoffs, since they put out what they put out this Tuesday, it makes me believe that just winning this game is not enough. I do believe that we have to win this game convincingly. I think we need to beat Pitt by 20 plus points. I know, Notre Dame was able to do that mainly because Pitt just mailed it in and they hurt us like the rest of the ACC teams seem to hurt us. I don't know what that is. Syracuse plays against Notre Dame. They put a quarterback out there who has no idea what he's doing. Louisville's playing against SMU. They just sit there starting quarterback and their best receiver, don't know what they're doing. It seems like every time an ACC team has an opportunity to help the Hurricanes, they do some weird stuff. Pittsburgh goes against Notre Dame, and they just totally mail it in. The coach even said they could beat us by 100 points. I don't care. They just totally mail it in. So all those games against Notre Dame, obviously they're comparing those. They're comparing how Miami played against this team and how Notre Dame played against this team, and they're comparing the results. The thing that sucks about it is when we play these teams, they're ultra focused and they're trying to view it as if like their Super Bowl or national championship. They play against Notre Dame and they sit their best players. They bring in quarterbacks that have no business being on the field. It's just craziness that unfolds. So, like I said at the beginning of this video, this just presents itself as the big boss to me because it seems like every concern that we've had from either the beginning of the year or even years past, whether it's weather, how our quarterback will deliver whenever there is no running game, because I don't foresee us running the ball very well this game because they're going to do everything they can to keep that from happening. How is our quarterback going to be able to keep from turning the ball over against a team that really forces people to turn the ball over? Like you saw what they did to Georgia Tech's quarterback last week. It was a mess. He never throws interceptions, and he was throwing interceptions. He threw a couple of them, one of them being a pick six right before they scored a touchdown. Right there on the doorstep. And if you know anything about Georgia Tech, when they get in the red zone, they're gonna score touchdowns because of that old gimmicky run football style offense they play. So we're playing against a team that's coming in hot, playing against a team that's got a lot of faith in their new quarterback, playing against a team who's got a coach who does all kind of tricky, weird stuff and loves to scheme up against teams who they are supposed to lose to. We're playing a situation that is a do or die situation for us, and we have been tragically terrible in those situations. Playing against a quarterback who uses his legs, playing against a group that pressures the quarterback out. So, I mean, there's a million. If you can't tell, I mean, I am Mr. Optimistic, but I do not feel great about this game. I just don't. And I don't believe that I don't think that y'all would think I'm crazy for not feeling very optimistic about this game. I have strong concerns about how we'll look and how we'll perform. I do believe if the Hurricanes are playing, this is one of the things I always ask myself when I'm looking at these games. If we got to play this team on a neutral field 5 times in a row, or 5 games back to back, or let's just say a 7-game series like in the NBA Finals, how would this turn out if we played on a neutral field? I believe if we played against SMU in a 7-game series, we beat them 4-1. And I think the 1 is the game that they actually got against us. Louisville, I think that one would be more like if we played them in a 7-game series, we'd probably beat them 4-2. I think they would beat us twice in 7-game series. If we played against Bethune-Cookman, we'd beat them 4-0. We'd sweep them. If we played against Notre Dame, I think we'd beat them 4-3. I think that would go back and forth, back and forth. NC State, I think NC State would beat us once. I think that'd be 4-1. This Pitt team, if we played them in a 7-game series, I think we'd win 4-2 or maybe even 4-3. I think this would be, if it was a neutral field and we're playing this team 7 times in a row, I think they would beat us twice, if not 3 times, and force a game 7. I really think this Pitt team is a good team. And that's why I predicted that we'd be favored by just about 6 points, which we are. So we'll see, man. I think a neutral field, we'd beat them. But we're actually playing them at their place in the cold. So that concerns me. I'm not saying we're going to lose, but I'm definitely not coming out here saying we're going to kill them. I'm not thinking that at all. But at the same time, for the sake of the college football playoff spot, I think we need to kill them. So, as I've mentioned on a previous video, I know it sounds weird, but I think that the situation in which we're playing teams and we have to win convincingly, I think it actually helps us. And I've said this on a previous video before. There were so many times when our Hurricanes were playing against inferior opponents and they come out there and they have this mindset of like, just don't lose, just don't lose. Like, we don't have to beat them by a bunch of points. We just cannot give this game away. We can't lose it. And when we do that, we play conservatively. We get up by 10 points, and instead of stretching that to 17, we say, let's just run the ball 3 times and let the clock run out. Let's just bleed more time off the clock. The 2000 Hurricanes, they were like, we up 10 points. It's halftime. We're getting the ball. We're going to score it, and then we're going to get an interception, and we're going to score it again. We're going to go, that was their mindset. Today's mindset and last year's mindset is we're up 10 points, y'all. There's only 10 minutes left. Let's just run the ball 3 times. If we get a first down, we can bleed 3 or 4 more minutes off the clock. But let's just get the time off the clock. Now, in these last couple of games, since we're so focused on making the college football playoffs and we know we've got to win by a bunch of points, we have been having that mindset that the 2000 Hurricanes had, where it's like, no, call timeouts before halftime. If they've got the ball, get your timeouts, get the ball back, and let's score again. In the third or fourth quarter, stop them, score again. Stop them, score again. Throw the ball on. Even though we're up 17 points, let's throw the ball on first down. Let's be aggressive to go up 24 instead of just saying, we got a 3-score lead, y'all. Let's just bleed the clock out. No, let's be aggressive and score and stretch the score out as much as we possibly can. So I'm kind of hoping on one hand, and I'm just thinking out loud now, y'all. So I'm kind of hoping on one hand that we are aggressive like that, because we actually need to be to get into the college football playoff, if you ask me. On the other edge of that sword, though, I do know that our quarterback, and I know a lot of y'all got a lot of faith in Carson Beck. God bless you. Unfortunately, I don't. Um, and I believe that our offensive coordinator, I think that he calls plays, or he has called plays this season in many games that told me that he didn't have a whole lot of faith in his quarterback. So, yeah, we want to be aggressive because the only way you can win by 20 plus points is by being aggressive. But at the same time, Carson Beck can get nervous. He can get scared. He can get sped up and turn the ball over multiple times in a game. We've seen him throw 4 interceptions in one game, y'all. So he can do that. So yeah, it's boom or bust in this game. Like to me, it feels like if we're either gonna win by 20 plus points or we're gonna get blown out ourselves. I wouldn't be surprised either way that this game goes. I'm not gonna lie to you. If we win by 28, I wouldn't be too shocked. If we lose by 17, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I'm not too shocked by this either. Just because of the history, because of what I've seen from the quarterback this year, what I've seen from this Hurricanes team the years prior in cold weather, all this stuff is playing out in front of us. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I almost said something else, but I'll leave it at that. I think I'll save that for the video after this Pitt game. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll save it for after the Pitt game. Anyway, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. Gonna continue building this thing one like and one subscription at a time. Yeah, I don't know how this game is gonna go. I have absolutely no idea. When we played against Virginia Tech, I told you we were gonna beat them pretty good. We played against North Carolina State. I wasn't too sure, but I figured we'd have a close victory against them. This game, I don't know if we'll blow them out. I don't know if they'll blow us out. I don't know if it'll be a close victory for us. I don't know if they'll win by a field. I don't know what's gonna happen. This game could go any direction, and I would not be shocked. It's just my thought process on this. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, y'all. We'll see. I'm nervous as hell. Not gonna lie to you. Take care. God bless. Peace.